routines, they know what we bring, don't try us. Ain't no in between, we go for these dreams in silence. Hard work, don't mistake it for magic. We been shooting in the gym, this is target and practice, yeah. And I'm just getting started, get my feet wet. It's all in repetition, ain't a secret. All facts, all black dress code. Pay me my respect, collecting every debt. Oh, the hardest, I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. out.
Bom dia da Portugal. Good day from Portugal. We are ready once again for a great day of racing. We are at the Autódromo Internacional Algarve to enjoy two more races. One last hurrah for the Eurocup 3 Spanish Winter Championship, and another one, of course, for the E4 Spanish Winter Championship. It will be the last action of the weekend, and it will be the last time these two series run together for the Spanish Winter Championship, which will separate the last event for each of these categories into two different events in Navarra and in Motorland Aragon in March. But for the time being, that's all we can say about the future, because we have a race to run now. We have two more events still left on this Sunday, and it will all happen here in this roller coaster of a circuit that has given us an equally exciting weekend so far. We have seen lots of fights, lots of overtakes, and lots of excitement. But unfortunately, what we will not see today is a total of 27 cars. We had these 27 cars racing this weekend, but unfortunately, we're going to be missing one of the drivers on this second feature race of the weekend for the Eurocup 3 due to the incident suffered yesterday by Francisco Macedo. Unfortunately, the local Portuguese driver has fractured his thumb, and so he will not be able to take part in today's race, and he is out of commission for the time being. We will have to see if he is ready in time for the next event. Hopefully it will be the case, but for the time being, not today. So we are down one car to 26 in total. Of course, we also have to keep in mind the results from yesterday's races, which still keep Mattia Colnaghi ahead in the championship, but have given us a surprising addition to the fight for potentially the championship in Valerio Renicella, who won the first race yesterday on his return to single-seaters and who will be starting from pole position today as well, after qualifying as the fastest driver on track. And precisely on track, we have our good friend, as always, our man on the field, Miguel Portillo. Bom dia, Miguel. How are you seeing things here in Portimão?
Hello, Alex. Bom dia. Tudo bom? Tudo bem? Here we are, close to the grid. All the cars coming in, just leaving the pit lane. Ready for this Sunday. We expect like a regular race here. I mean, the qualifying has been a dry condition, so there's no cars out of his regular position. Everybody has done his best, so we are going to see the very fast drivers in the very first position in the front row. So let's see how they fight between them and among each other. The guys are coming from the backside, but I mean, the front row and the second row, they are the very best from this morning. So let's see if we can have the grid compact all together, and then we can fight for a long race, 30 minutes plus one lap, of the four guys on the front rows can leave the package and do their own race. Today here, it's sunny, Alex. Finally, it's a little cold, but getting warmer, so we are ready to enjoy.
That's what I wanted to ask you, Miguel, because we know that yesterday we had a little bit of rain in the morning, but now the sky looks blue. It seems to be warm enough, because I can see that you're still wearing a jacket, so I don't think it's too hot. But it will be different from yesterday in terms of tire management, for example, isn't it?
Alex, I love this jacket. That's why I'm wearing it. But I mean, you can stay in a t-shirt. You know, these guys and the mechanics are coming in. I mean, you know, there's some the photographer in a t-shirt. So the temperature is increasing a little bit. I mean, for the tires, are gonna be super cool for them. The drivers, they are not going to fight to warm them up. So I think it's a perfect condition for a Sunday. Sunday, race day, we are super happy to stay here. All the drivers are coming in. As you said, Macedo is not in the grid. He got a minor breaks in his right-hand thumb, as you said. We were talking with Xavi Martos, the guy who is working with him as a physical, as the person who is trying to increase the way he managed into the racing career, not only in a physical way and as a mental way. So he said he's okay. He has realized he's not going to race on Sunday, but we are starting right now. Already we have started to work mentally to try to recover as soon as possible. So Xavi is here with him, try to make him feel better. So it's a pity he don't stay, but at least we expect him to recover for the next weeks. At least 2 weeks off.
At least 2 weeks off, so that's why the timeline is tight, as we said before, regarding the next race weekend for these guys. But as you said, he's well supported, because you mentioned the man helping him with physical training, and that is not any person. We're talking about Xavi Martos, who is, of course, known for having worked for many, many years with Sergio Perez in Formula One. So, of course, he has experience in the top level of motorsport. Imagine being supported, physically speaking, or in terms of physical training, by someone who has experienced Formula One. That has to be definitely something that makes you feel a little bit more safe, I think.
Yeah, and also mentally super important for these young guys in the grid who have to fight against a lot of things during the weekend. The reverse grid we had yesterday with many people moving around, the touches and the class that we have seen during all the races and the safety cars. And also, I got to say that Stanek got 5 place grid penalty. He got qualifying this morning in 3rd position. He's dropping back, so Stanek is in the grid, but he was involved in this class. We're watching this guy here behind me is Rinicella, again in the 1st position. I'm going to show you he's getting ready for the race, because I mean, this guy came from the FRECA. He got experience also in the endurance, and here we are again in the 1st position. He did such a very good qualifying, and I think he can manage the pace. He could be the winner for today. Let's see if the guy on the right side, Gladys, can fight against him. But Rinicella is showing that is one of the best drivers in the field. His very first weekend here in this Spanish Winter Championship, but a 2 pole position, Alex, and again trying to fight back for the win. Yesterday he did it.
Exactly, and that is what any driver likes to do when they join a championship way through the season, which is show that they can fight with the top guys, and this is what the Italian is doing. He was quick yesterday, he has been quick today. He took the first win of the weekend in race 1 yesterday, and I think he is ready to at least attempt the second, the double. If he's going to have a challenge, well, it's going to be on his right side on the grid, sharing the first row with him. That's Maciej Gladish, who of course has been one of the main protagonists of the Spanish Winter Championship so far, and he should be one of the main challengers for the victory today. We will also have Mattia Colnaghi starting from 3rd position, Jules Caranta, Juan Cota, James Segozzi, Andres Cárdenas. All of them are great rookies who are going to make life difficult for the man in pole position. Miguel, who are you finding more interesting or more surprising for you to be here around the top?
I mean, Caranta is going to fight for the podium, starting in the 4th position, as you said. He's the guy driving for the Red Bull Academy. I think he got something in his hand. He got a really interesting fight in Jerez with Solov. Solov is not racing here, but Caranta will stay for the rest of the championship. And I think he can fight with the MP guys and with the Campos guys to stay in the podium. Also, Cota in the 5th position. Let's try to say he can use the push to pass button, this 25 bh power, extra bh power to try to overtake. And let's see if we can see the Spaniard on the finish line on the podium. Let's see to try to fight back for the very 3rd position, 2nd, 2 or 3rd.
Thank you very much, Miguel Portillo from the grid. I can see that you are betting on a 6th winner out of 6 races, and I think that you might be onto something. Although, of course, we have all the previous winners wanting to get a repeat here, but let's not forget that so far, no driver has been able to win a 2nd race. We have 5 winners out of 5 races, and it is, of course, Jules Caranta and Juan Cota, the quickest drivers who have not yet won a race. Jules Caranta had a podium finish in the 2nd feature race in Jerez, while Juan Cota did that 2nd place in the sprint race. So it is them probably who have the biggest opportunities to perhaps be the 6th winner of the season. It won't be easy because we know that we have some of the most promising rookies in this level of motorsport in the European Feeder Series racing for that win. We also have to consider, as Miguel was referencing, that 8th place on the grid by Kasper Stuka, who had finished 3rd on the qualifying, but he had that 5th place penalty on the grid, which sees him starting from 8th in the end. He will be starting from the 4th row on the grid, but we should not discount him because we have 30 minutes plus 1 lap ahead of us of racing, and we know that in Portimão, 30 minutes plus 1 lap is plenty of time to do a good recovery. We saw James Segozzi starting from these kind of positions and ended up fighting for the win. He started from 4th, he managed to fight for the win in race 1. In the end, he did not manage to keep that position until the end. And then in the sprint race, he was able to recover from a little bit further behind that he was starting from. So we have to look at these drivers who are starting from inside the top 10, because all of them, I would say, are reasonable candidates for the win. Be it because some of the guys at the front could have some issues, or maybe could make some mistake at some point. We know that this is also something that can happen, especially when the tempers flare as hard as these drivers can flare sometimes. We are, of course, watching drivers on the formation lap. We're watching them heating up the tires. Not too much, perhaps. The temperatures are higher today than they were yesterday, but it is very important to keep tires in the right temperature window. It's also important to keep the brakes at the right temperature, because as we know, there is a strong braking point into turn 3, and that is important to keep a good temperature to be able to make those overtakes, as well as turn 5, which is probably the spot where we have seen the most action this weekend. Again, we can review the grid. We have Valerio Renicella starting from pole position ahead of Maciej Gladish, Mattia Colnaghi from 3rd place, Jules Caranta 4th, Juan Cota in 5th place, James Segozzi from 6th, Andres Cárdenas from 7th place, Kasper Stuka starting from 8th place, rounding that 4th row on the grid. And we also have, starting from 9th, the presence of Lucas Fluxa and Enzo Martinez-School, closing up the top 10. Behind them, Fittipaldi, Azcazabal, Lambert, Hidek, Wurz, Morano, Berry, Reed, Cantu, Castillo, Barashi, the Helbert brothers, 22nd and 23rd, Scolar, Carrasquedo, and Feldman from 26. Once again, a quick mention, we are going to have 26 cars on the grid today and not 27th due to the injury sustained by Francisco Macedo on his incident yesterday. It is not a serious injury, it is a fractured thumb, but unfortunately this means that he will not be on the starting grid today. And as Miguel Portillo mentioned earlier, he is facing approximately a couple of weeks of recovery before he can be safely back into the car. We are watching then all the cars taking the spots in the grid, and that means it is almost time for us to have the start of the last race of the weekend for the Euro Cup 3 Spanish Winter Championship. That will be the 6th race out of a total of 9, because as you very well know, the series will finish on the 29th and 30th of March in Motorland Aragon, as they will close off this Spanish Winter Championship, which will close actually already in spring. Anyway, we have a green flag going to be waved at the back of the grid in just a few moments, and that will signify that everything is ready for the start. There we go. The grid is set, the race is ready, the lights are on, and as the lights are out, the race is underway, and we have a poor start by Valerio Renicella, who is not going to be able, I think, to keep that first position. And the one who did a great launch was Mattia Colnaghi, who takes first position ahead of his teammate in MP Motorsport. And we have a crash behind, that's Juan Cota, and he's going to be out of contention for any good result, because starting from that top position, recovering from behind will be particularly difficult. We have had our first few surprises then, with a bad start by Valerio Renicella, who falls to second place, and we have a new leader in Mattia Colnaghi. The Red Bull livered cars of Caranta and Tabarniscool fighting for that 8th position, 7th as well. And so we have the MP Motorsport machines leading up the field with those first and second place. KCL MP Motorsport for Maciej Gladish, the white and blue machine in 3rd position, ahead of James Egozzi for Palou Motorsport, and the first Campos car with Kasper Stuka, who started very, very well and went from 8th to 5th position. He could have something to say today. And we're watching the Red Bull machines. Caranta is ahead of his teammate in both Campos Racing and the Red Bull Academy, the Red Bull Junior team. These drivers who are very much looking forward to growing up with the energy drink company, looking forward to try and earn a spot in Formula One. We know that this is a difficult task, but these drivers are definitely ready for it. And we are watching the Roden Motorsport guys, who we send them our regards as they follow the race from the garage, from the pit lane. The first driver to come out will happen, of course, in E4 later on. But for the time being, they enjoy this Euro Cup 3 action, which is, for the time being, I think, settling down on this order with Mattia Colnaghi, who's going to try and escape, going to try and become the first repeat winner of the season, but he's going to have to contend with a foe in his own home, because Valerio Renicella is not going to let him run away, and neither is going to allow that Maciej Gladish. One of the very much positive surprises of the year, and I say surprises, and we shouldn't be surprised after having seen what we could do in Formula 4 Spanish Championship last year. And we're watching the two MP Motorsport machines pulling ahead of the field, trying to leave the group behind, as we're going to watch that replay, where we see how the very first few meters were pretty tricky for Renicella. And behind, we're going to see what happened with Juan Cota. There was some kind of contact. I suspect it could be with Caranta, and that spun him around, and he fell down to the back of the group. He's now fighting for 22nd position, just behind Christian Cantu. And he will have a tall order ahead of him if he wants to recover. We're watching the fight now for 6th place, as Caranta has overtaken Kasper Stuka. So the Red Bull young driver goes up to P5. And well, maybe Miguel Portillo had something in his mind. Maybe he knew what was going to happen. He bet for one of these guys. Well, he bet for possibly maybe Juan Cota doing something special. Fortunately, it was not the case for the Spaniard, but the Frenchman might have something there. He's chasing now after James Egozzi. and looking to get into that podium fight. And remember, the first 4 drivers in this race have already won this year. So if any of them is able to finish the race in first position, they will become the first repeat winner of 2025. So that will be an honor that all of them will want to take, all of them will fight hard for. But of course, as we know, it is a bit of a longer race, 30 minutes plus 1 lap. That is always allowing them to have a little bit more time to think how to deal with things, to strategize, take stock of the situation, and why not to even play a little bit with the rivals. The psychological game always important in these categories, especially between some of these guys who know each other very, very well. This is the chaser group we are watching just around the top 10. We're seeing Stuttgart, Rally School, Fittipaldi, Fluxa, Cardenas, Wurz, Afkasaba. And we are having the focus on the Thai driver. Would be, again, one of the Red Bull objectives to be able to have a Thailand-born racing driver in one of their cars in the future. Why not? That could be an option. Of course, those who follow Formula 1 will remember in recent years Red Bull featured one Alexander Albon in the Red Bull team. But of course, we have to remember that Albon is also a British citizen, or one would say a British-born Thai citizen. Red Bull also wants to have that Thailand-born racing driver in Formula 1. This is also why they support these young talents from their own home country, the origin of Red Bull, not so much as a company, but as a product. But beyond all the economic considerations, what we are focused now is also this fight for first place between the two MP Motorsport teammates, sharing that traditional Dutch orange with Mattia Colnaghi keeping that lead for the time being. Remember, Mattia Colnaghi, the Spanish Formula 4 champion from last year, and is definitely showing that he can be a challenger this season, and he will attempt it, as Jules Caranta is also attempting something. In this case, the fight for fourth place, trying to hold around that outside line. That might not be enough. He has to give that space to James Segozzi. He cannot complete the overtake outside of track limits, because that would be enough to earn himself a penalty. But he does the cross line. He tried to cross that line and take the inside of the North American driver. That was not enough, but we are seeing that Segozzi is perhaps struggling a little bit more with the pace. And so Caranta needs to complete that overtake if he wants to think about catching the top 3, because they are now officially running away. It is tremendously difficult to keep your cool when you are slower than the guys ahead, and when you are being pushed, as James Segozzi is being pushed right now. That cross line is Jules Caranta who's doing it perfectly, and I think that might just be enough. Maybe not before the last corner, but he will have a good run down the main straight, and that could be enough to mount an attempt in the next braking point. We will be watching it behind these guys at the top, and we see that overtake attempt. He is trying it around the outside, but that was not enough. Segozzi defended like a lion, and he goes again on the defensive inside. Caranta, he cannot be too aggressive because he has Stuka behind. If he's too aggressive, he may leave the door open to the Griffin Corby Campos racing driver. And we go into turn 5, another great chance. He's going to try again around the outside, the cross line. A good run on the inside, but not enough. And we have seen this story before. He has to brake late. He has to try that cross line here, and we know that didn't work last lap. So we go into the second sector. Egozzi doing a great defense, keeping that 4th place. But it is difficult to imagine in that position for 20 whole minutes ahead. But he could perhaps try to exhaust his rival, or force Caranta to use his tires more than he likes to use them. Because running just behind another car is always giving you that dirty air, which forces you to use your front tires more than you like. And this is what Egozzi is doing onto Caranta. The French driver pushing hard, with Egozzi forming that train behind him. And so we have very small difference between these guys. And we see another attempt behind. That would be Emerson Fittipaldi, if I'm not mistaken, getting past Enzo Darmaniscul. And these are the opportunities that can appear when one of the drivers is being slower than those that follow him. Because with these trains there is always a smart cookie who is able to get ahead of the rival. That's what Emerson Fittipaldi has done here, taking that 7th place. So it's 7 for the 7-7 car. And he will absolutely try to aim for Stuka as well. We're going to watch that replay. He had a very, very good run down the straight, and that was enough to reach the braking point, already ahead of Darmaniscul, whom we are watching also now, chasing after the MP Motorsport machine. Caranta, he has lifted a little bit, just giving that extra 10th that will maybe give him that bit of space that his front tires need. You cannot keep that aggressive chase for too long, because you will have overheat in your front tires. That's what he's trying to avoid, but it is not easy to do. If you give too much space, you leave yourself open to an attack from behind, and that is definitely not a smart choice. So it is 5 seconds already between Gladish and Egozzi. The gap between the current podium occupants and the other drivers substantially large, and this is going to affect how the top 3 drivers are going to fight for these positions. They will be letting the race develop for now, but they can allow themselves to be very aggressive at the end. So look for those last few laps, because Colnaghi, Rinicella and Gladish could show a very exciting end of this last race of the weekend. Meanwhile, we're watching Egozzi defending from Caranta, from Stuka, from Fittipaldi, from Darmaniscul, from Fluxa in 9th place, from Cardenas in 10th. And we still have some drivers behind who could potentially join that fight for the points. Woods and Afkasava particularly. Lambert is already a little bit far away from now. And the race is reaching that spot where drivers breathe for a moment, try to consider all the possibilities, and strategize a little bit. We know that these drivers are always constantly helped and supported by their engineers on the radio, and together they have to come up with the best strategy to get the result they want. It is very unusual, even in these categories, that you may be able to push the whole race from the start to the finish line. So, for the time being, this is what we're watching. Colnaghi leading the race ahead of Rinicella, who has been definitely one of the positive surprises this season. And by this season, of course, we have to mean this weekend, because he was not in Jerez, but he is joining here in Portimão. His words yesterday made it pretty clear that he is most likely going to be in Aragon as well, and why not, perhaps, in the whole season. Rinicella, of course, he knows this series pretty well, at least from having been in the Formula 4 Spanish Championship in 2023. He was third in the championship with a couple of race wins before moving to Formula Regional, where he struggled a little bit more. He had this tough debut season with MP Motorsport, finishing in 20th place. But he had a fairly good race in the Macau Grand Prix last year, with that final 11th place in the main race. And of course, the absolutely wonderful experience that Rinicella had in the Asian Le Mans Series, with 3 race wins in 6 races that led him to becoming the champion with Algarve Pro Racing, which of course it is a very nice coincidence, considering that we are now of course racing in the Portuguese Algarve region. The Algarve Pro Racing team, of course, situated very, very near this Autódromo Internacional do Portimão. But this is not endurance we're talking about now. This is single-seater. This is Euro Cup 3 Spanish Winter Championship. And this is the fight for first place. 2 MP Motorsport drivers, 1 KCL MP Motorsport driver. And that means we have 3 potential friends out of the track who will remember and who will remind themselves, and who will of course remind all of us that when you're on the track, there is no real friend. Only rivals to fight for that win. We know that Colnaghi wants to reinforce that championship lead. We know that Rinicella wants to show that he can fight for the championship as well, if he's able to take that win. And we know, of course, that Maciej Gladiš thinks something similar. If he takes the win here, he should be able to take the lead of the championship. So this is important, not just in terms of pride, but also in terms of championship standings. And so we're reaching past the halfway point of the race. It is 13 minutes and 10 seconds plus 1 lap that we have on the clock, and we're watching Maciej Gladiš making that first attempt, which is maybe not so much an attempt, but more of a reminder for Rinicella to keep in mind that, hey mate, I am here. That move behind the mirror to make sure that your rival knows that you are pushing and that you're not going to stop at anything. That psychological game that we referenced before. And especially with those drivers that maybe don't know each other that well, it is important for them to do it. Because of course Colnaghi and Gladiš do know each other very well. They raced last year in Spanish Formula 4 together. Rinicella is in many ways, for all intents and purposes, a new rival for them. So they will have to, of course, keep that in mind. And the fight for fourth is still raging on, with James Segozzi defending that fourth place. He probably heard what we said, and we said, well, maybe it is not easy, maybe it is not possible for the North American to keep that fourth place until the end. Well, so far he's proving that he has been able to defend it, much to the chagrin of Jules Caranta, the French young driver from the Red Bull stable, who is of course doing his best to try and improve his standing. Fifth place is by no means a bad result, but of course, if you can have a fourth, you're going to go for it. And he is going for it. At the very least, he is trying to put a little bit of stress on his rival. I am not entirely sure if he is thinking of anything else beyond that fourth place, because frankly, having those 5 seconds between third and fourth makes it very, very difficult to think of anything else beyond this fourth place for these drivers. They will have to expect any kind of mistake from the front if they want any improvement. I would say the podium placing positions are pretty locked right now. But at the very least, we have some exciting fights ahead of us. I am waiting to see what these guys at the front do, because Kolnagi, Rinicella and Gladish have very small differences between them, and we have seen that things can change up until the very last corner. Rinicella did it yesterday, and of course he is going to try and replicate that today. But ahead of him, he has 10 minutes to do it, plus 1 lap, of course. And so let's see what these guys have on in store for us, because I have high hopes on them. And now Rinicella has reacted a little bit after seeing that Gladish was behind and he was willing to attack. That was his response. No, mate, I have my own goals and I have to chase after them. And he's now pushing his teammate, he's now pushing the race leader, and Mattia Kolnagi, who is going to have to keep an eye on the mirror, because from behind we're seeing a number 55 by Valerio Rinicella going for that potential second race win. Imagine if we have no race repeat winner until a new driver comes across this race weekend. That would be quite a story to keep in mind. That is the very story that the Italian is trying to write on our books. And so far, he's finding himself in a difficult position because he has a teammate ahead. And while, yes, we know that there are no friends in racing, you do race for a team, and if you have a tricky situation with a teammate, well, the team may not be very happy about it. We also keep an eye further down the field on Juan Cota, who has been able to climb up to 18th place. I am very sure that there has been some nice action there and some nice overtakes by the Spaniard, who has unfortunately not been able to fight for the podium as he would have probably liked to do. I think he had the speed to be there up there with these guys. Unfortunately, we were not able to watch him do it. He has been less fortunate than one might have expected from him. But in racing, we know that you don't just rely on your speed, on your talent. You also rely on your luck. And well, as they say in these cases, ask and ye shall receive. We're watching some of the action behind. That was Lenny Reed, one of the DXR drivers, in this case, fighting with Juan Cota as well. So we send our regards and our thanks to the TV operators, who of course keep that in mind, keep our wishes in mind. And once we mentioned the fights that Juan Cota was probably involved in, they were quick to bring up some of those images for us. We are looking at less than 7 minutes plus 1 lap. We are entering that decisive phase of the last race of the weekend. This is the second race, feature race of Eurocup 3 Spanish Winter Championship in Portimão. And we are watching the race leaders. Mattia Kolnagi, first place ahead of Valerio Rinicella, and Maciej Gladish in third. Those are the 3 podium occupants for the time being, and they will be fighting for that race win. James Igozzi defending that second group, and he has done a fantastic job. Just 15 minutes ago, I would not have thought that he would be able to keep that position for that long. He was clearly slower than Jules Caranta, and despite that, he has kept his cool, and he has been able to be ahead for the time being. And I say for the time being because the insistence with which Caranta is attacking his rival has once again become a little bit more spicy, and the Frenchman is going to try that. That is a crisscross line. That is, of course, one of the usual strategies done by Caranta at this point. Adeozzi has been defending the whole race. He knows exactly where his rival is going to attempt it. Because from the outside to the inside was a good run, not enough to mount the overtake attempt yet. But it is enough to have that outside line. Crossing the line will be enough to keep having more and more momentum, because the goal is to do all of this for the main straight. If this works, folks, keep in mind, this has been a move that has been prepared for half a lap. And I think he may have a chance. Watch out for Jules Caranta. Half a lap preparing this overtake. He is now side by side with James Segozzi, and he's going to try that magic outside line, which can work here in Portimão. But my word, what has James Segozzi defended here? That was very, very good. Under pressure, the Palou Motorsport driver still. And Jules Caranta will be impatient to get past. But even then, he is still trying. And we have a feint from the Campos driver. And a great run. That might be the one. He's on the inside. That might be the one. He's just ahead, but he has the outside line. James Segozzi, he thought he was done for, and he still kept that to the fourth place, and he keeps that fourth place on the outside. But that was not enough, and it was now finally that Jules Caranta done it. He had to wait for 15 minutes, and wow, my word! What we've watched here! That was insane from Kasper Stuka! Two drivers in just one corner. The Polish driver did something very, very special there. Fantastic, the number 37 car. The Griffin core by Campos. That was absolutely amazing from Kasper Stuka. We knew he had the base. We knew he had the skills. But what we didn't know is that he had been watching his rivals for the whole race. Well, we knew it, but we didn't know if he had taken all that study to make good use of it. And well, he clearly had. And he has taken 4th place now. James Segozzi therefore down to 6th place. And we might have another change in positions by Emerson Fittipaldi, because he is also pushing Segozzi now. And I suspect, we would have to go and talk to the engineers, I suspect that the Palou Motorsport guys might have an issue with tire management. We have seen Segozzi struggle with the second half of the race especially. And we want to watch that. That was amazing. That was a textbook overtake by Stuka, being able to get past two rivals in just one corner. I wish we could go to Kasper and ask him, how did you do that? Well, he may not want to reveal his secrets, but that was definitely the best overtake of the race. We hope that it's not the last though. We still have just under 2 minutes plus 1 lap. So we have enough time for potentially 3 more racing laps ahead of us. And so, well, it might be 2. And so that means that Colnaghi, Rinicella and Gladish need to get going, because whatever they want to do, they need to be quick about it. Gladish is falling behind a little bit, and I suspect that this means that the fight for the win is going to be between these two. So it is between the two Italians, Colnaghi and Rinicella. And yes, we know that we say two Italians, and we know that we have a strong contingent of Argentinian fans who say, well, Mattia Colnaghi is only 50% Italian, the other 50 has to be Argentinian. And yes, we know that. And we keep that in our minds always, because we love having this international fan base accompanying us in all of these races. We always greet our Argentinian fans, we always greet our Italian fans as well, our Polish fans as fierce as ever, as well as the French group of fans following Jules Caranta, the Spanish fans as well, and everyone who watches us from all over the world, and more fights from behind. That is, of course, Juan Cota, and I think that is the Spaniard getting past. I think that might have been Lambert. But that did look like one of the Drivix machines, so that might have been Lenny Reed. We don't see Reed nearby Cota in the standings right now. But that did look like one of his teammates. But we have to go back to the front, because some things have happened, and we are talking about the absence of Maciej Gladish. We are not seeing the Polish driver where he was, and there he is. Something has happened to his car. And while we were focusing on the fight for the win between these two drivers, with Rinicella breaking out very, very late to try and force Kolnagi out of the track, we are now seeing also Maciej Gladish, who will be left without that prize. He had definitely earned it. It is very unfortunate for the Polish driver, who could have had that podium finish, and this will be a big blow to his options to fight for the title. That will allow Kolnagi to fly away ahead in the standings, and he may not have the need to defend as strongly that first position, but we know there's also a matter of pride here. And I think Mattia Kolnagi has all he needs to take that win. We have a yellow flag, of course, at this section, because this is where Maciej Gladish is stranded. We saw him right now. And now we reach the last corner for another fantastic showcase of skill by Mattia Kolnagi, who has been fantastic from the very start of the race. And it is a second win by Kolnagi, who becomes the first repeat winner of 2025, ahead of Valerio Rinicella, who has had a fantastic weekend. And third place will be for Kasper Stuka, who has received a surprising third place. And so we have that Polish podium finish, maybe not what we were initially expecting, but a Polish podium finish nonetheless. And this is the other side of the coin. The issues for Maciej Gladish. That was so very unfortunate. Heartbreak for young Maciej, who had been fighting with good skill, who had been chasing these two guys for most of the race, who had been waiting for his chance to try and attempt this fight for second place for the win. And unfortunately, this is motorsport sometimes, and he did not have the reward that he so craved. So this is the story of today. We have our first repeat winner of 2025, Mattia Kolnagi, who is, of course, the current Spanish F4 champion. And he is, of course, sending a message to the world. This is my second Eurocup 3 weekend, second win, and I am ready to fight for the title of the regular season as well. Well, that might be true, but there is still one more race weekend for the Spanish Winter Championship for these Eurocup 3 drivers. And so, of course, there is still a Winter Championship to be fought. And I am sure that right now, Mattia Kolnagi will be thinking, well, why not start the season with a title? Might be the good way to start the year. So that was the last race of Eurocup 3 for today. And as we watch Mattia Kolnagi have a creative line into the pit lane to make sure that the weight is as it should be. Good strategy to pick up some debris on the tires. We will be watching the number 71 making it to the Parc Fermé, and soon we'll be enjoying that moment of celebration, that moment of elation for him ahead of his teammate Valerio Rinicella and the first Griffin 4 by Campos driver Kasper Stuka. And so it is a celebration for Mattia Konagi. Second win of the season for him, first repeat winner. And a greeting by the team. Of course, they will be very, very proud of him, and they have good reason to do. Because he is the man of the moment, along with Valerio Rinicella, of course, to complete a fantastic weekend with 3 podium finishes in as many races. As cool as a cucumber. And he has been an absolute stunner of a racer today. Well, it's time to get that obligatory weighting as well, to make sure the weight is as it should. And of course, as we were mentioning during the race, these 2 flags that always go with Mattia Konagi on his racing suit as well. Italian on the one side, Argentinian on the other side. And as we know, both sides of the family very involved as well with his racing career, and often traveling from half of the world away. Because this is the world of motorsport, the world of passions, and it doesn't matter where you are from. What matters is that you are always willing to go and watch your drivers duke it out on track. And a congratulations by James Segozzi as well on the race winner. And this is sporting at its best. These drivers, we said there are no friends, but we said there are no friends on track. Many of them are very good friends out of the track and get along very, very well. We'll be waiting to see if our man on the field, Miguel Portillo, will be ready to talk to the race winner soon. Because we want to hear the thoughts and feelings of, as we said, our first repeat winner of 2025. A picture to bring back home, a picture to show to the family, a picture to show the sponsors. There's many reasons to be proud today, because I think this win is going to be one that makes a difference in Kolnagi's chances for the championship. He was already leading, and these are good points. And we have with us Mattia Konagi, who will be giving us his feelings after this second race win of the season. Miguel Portillo, the field is yours, and the field is for Mattia Konagi.
Here's the winner. Another weekend, another win. Congratulations. You set the pace, fair position, and control everything.
Yeah, very good race for us, and yeah, very good weekend for myself and the team as well, with good position from the other drivers.
You were checking the mirrors, or you were pretty sure you got the fair position, and you were pretty sure you can get the win?
I had a good pace in the start of the race. I was able to pull a bit away from Valerio and keep the lead. But after the middle of the race, he started catching back up, and I struggled a bit more to keep him behind. So using the push to pass to my advantage and using the dirty air to my advantage, I was able to stay in front and keep the race win.
Yeah, keep the great defense. I mean, everything was super control. You were super happy with the car and also with your race.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the pace, with the car. Big thank you to the team, obviously, to all my sponsors.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Great job by one Mattia Konagi, who has been able to explain us a little bit better what it took to keep this win on his side, and he used all he had. Of course, Miguel Portillo, you have to admire these drivers when they tell you, well, yes, I used the dirty air, I used the push to pass, and I used everything that I had to my advantage. That is a very good driver, for sure.
They are super smart, Alex. They know exactly how to do it. They use the push to pass to attack. They use to push to pass to defend. And we said before on the grid that the very first drivers on the front row, the first, second position, also the second row, were the guys who were about to fight for the win because they were the best in the qualifying, the regular qualifying. They set the pace, and the very first third driver left the grid behind. We're fighting among them, but Kolnagi, when he got the very first position, he controlled everything. I mean, he was not even defending the inside line, so Kolnagi got such a good race and such a good pace.
So thank you very much from the track to you, Miguel Portillo, for giving us all the information. We're always happy to hear what you can bring us to improve all this information for our fans. And of course, from our side, I think it will be time to take a small break for now, because as we're watching the highlights, we have to get ready because we still have one more race to go as we wait for the E4 machines to get on track to start getting on the grid. So again, if you like strategizing, now would be a good time to take a small break, to take some drink, to take some water, to take a small snack, because we'll be back for more for the last race of the weekend here at the Autódromo Internacional do Algarve. We still have that second feature race for the E4, and so we recommend to you that you accompany us with that one as well, because from what we've seen so far in the weekend, it has all the ingredients to be one more spectacular event. So accompany us then. We'll be waiting for you. But of course, so far, it has been a great Sunday of racing.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins, can't relax. Original, I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they never ever mind and they beeswax. I don't ever cap, but I'm wearing like 3 hats. Never been a rat, but I know where the cheese at. You'll never get a trophy cause they all here where we at. You better believe that. When it's all said and done, I'll still be here standing. Never took a loss and it ain't something that I'm planning. I dare you to say something. My focus is A1. Every dog has his day.